The art studio's in quite a state. Come on along and see. I thought I would do this studio tour because I thought you can relate. This morning I got up, I got ready. I didn't know what I was going to be doing in the studio today because it's that day of like the palette's not full. It's actually kind of third full. It's using a Stay Wet Masterson, so it's thinned out a bit. I don't know what I'm going to do today. It's Thursday. My granddaughter is coming at noon, so I'm babysitting. My yard is a mess. I'm getting distracted by all sorts of things. So I thought, okay, I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna clean up the studio, which I have partially done. But then I thought, oh, I can use that paint and let me start something new. Let me do something. I'm also working on, if you remember ages ago, I did an abstract with my grandson, Amos. And I have done a few iterations over it. It really made me a little nervous. I didn't know if I wanted to paint over it. My daughter-in-law's like, my daughter actually is like, just paint over it, Mom. So I thought I would like springboard from it. And I've done a few things, and I'll put the first iteration here, and then I don't know if I took another picture, and then I'll show you on the floor where it's at right now. And I think what I'm gonna do, this is so random. This video is so random, but I thought you actually could relate to a random video. I think maybe I'll have him come back in and do another layer. And then it's a good collaboration. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and I'm just gonna show you what's happening in the studio so that you can relate and you can feel for me. But there's really some exciting things. So before I flip it around, I wanna show you this. What? Okay, if you haven't gasped about that, I don't know. I gasped and I did it. This is using up on a fresh white canvas, not painted red, using up my paint. I had a lot of pinks on my palette, and I thought I would use those new Japanese brushes that I picked up, and this is what happened. So I'm pretty excited. I'm gonna leave it, I'm gonna walk away. And I don't even know, tomorrow's Friday, so I don't even know if I'm painting tomorrow because I need a fresh palette, and then it's the weekend. I got lots of things to do, and the palette won't last the weekend. Such a hard decision. Let me flip you around and show you what's going on in the chaos here. Here's the counter. This is actually tidy. It was covered with so much crap, and now I've got things soaking. I had left a brush. Now that's soaking in Murphy's oil soap because it dried. Here's the Japanese brushes that I picked up. This one, and then there's a long skinny one. There it is. And this rough one. I'm really kind of digging those. We'll see how they go, but they're lovely. This one's super soft. This one is almost like a stain brush. And then this one is rough and giving me some really interesting textures. I get distracted, so I went outside and saved a plant before it freezes here. Some of the little abstracts that I work on with my palette whenever I have an old palette. I kind of like this one. What do you think about that one? I think that one's fun. And this one I think is almost done, but it's a little too muddy for me, and I like real clear color, so I might go back in and touch that a little bit, but I don't know, I kind of like it. So then things were all over this counter. So what I did is I used my windowsill to store things, and I'm storing them so I can see them, because if I put these away in a cupboard, I will forget that I even own them. I don't know about you. Are you the same? I have primed some 12 by 12s because next week I'm wanting to get about 7 more done, starting and priming some littles. I did a whole bunch of littles in the past few weeks that are going to Crown and Press, my gallery, and there's a show. If you're seeing this, the show is October 25th. If you're local and want to come down to the gallery, please do. I'll be there from 7 till 9. But if you're seeing this after, you can still go check out things at crownandpress.com. So I'm working on a large painting and another large painting. And these are commissions. And they look like a hot mess right now, but just wait. They're going to look great. So again, storing the 12 by 12s that I've painted up there so that I can see them, because when I paint more, I want to know what I've already painted, what the variety of things I need to do, et cetera, et cetera. I saved another plant. This is so cool. And the little babies were underneath this. Isn't that the coolest succulent? I even like how it's hanging out very artsy in that planter. Now, okay, this is also what I did. Upstairs on my deck, these pillows, I'm not gonna sit up there anymore. It's not very warm in the mornings. I'll sit down here where I have a fire pit. So I threw these down so that we could power wash them. Now, has my husband picked up the clue and said, hey, there's pillows on the deck? I must be, my wife must want to power wash those? No, he has not picked up that clue. So we will have to discuss that and get that done. But there's so much. We planted a hosta the other day. That's not cleaned up yet either. Oh, it is chaos. 12 by 12s on the wall. Lost the nail for that one. Look at the paint on my hands. Lost the nail for that one, so I got to put a new nail up so I can use it as storage. This, however, I'm loving that. Can you recognize this little floral abstract as a Julia Veenstra? Tell me, if you saw that in a gallery and you also saw my other paintings, would you recognize it? Would you say, oh, that's a Julia Veenstra? Let me know in the comments. I would really appreciate that. But let's turn around slowly so that you don't get, dizzy. Here is the painting that my grandson started and that I am working on. I've gone through all sorts of emotions with this one. And it's interesting because maybe it's because he touched it first and I don't want to ruin it, but then, he is only 10 and it was a fun practice thing. I just happened to do it on a stretched canvas. Maybe I should do that only on non-stretched canvas or paper when I'm working with them. Look at it, even has his name by Amos Cuthill, and I am remiss to cover that up. So there's things that are showing through that are definitely him. And here's a photo of it originally. And now here is a photo of what I did to it. And then back to, there was a few stages in between, but this is something that I did. I actually did a layer today and then washed it all off, dried it all off, and then thought, I gotta go. It was just limiting me, and I just gotta go in and add something with drama. So I do like the composition, the movement of color and value. It's really actually quite balanced. Here, let me take a picture of it and show you it in black and white. Okay, so in black and white, you can see that it's got all the values there. So it's pretty good composition. So I don't know what'll come next. Again, whether I'll ask my grandson to help me with that or not. Okay, I love this 12 by 12 and I have put it on my cleat wall to inspire me for a bigger painting. Now I can't get to it yet unless I just decide to ignore the commissions, But I love what happened when I was painting this little 12 by 12. There's so much energy. Perhaps it's a combination of what I'm doing when I'm trying to do abstracts and my regular style. But I would like to take this painting and make it into a 4x8 or 4x4. 4x8, wow. That would be very, very ambitious. Okay, now here's something that I'm trying to do. This is my Stay Wet Masterson palette, and this is how it is, and this is why I feel like I can't paint anymore, because I've used up all my main colors. Some of these I put too much out. So I'm trying to figure out how to save them. Now you can't put toothpaste back in the tube. So some of this is like, you can't just put it back in the tube. So I'm taking the lid of a similar color that I have in a tub, and I'm adding the paint to that, and I will save it that way. Now it won't drip down. I have done this before, and I will just save it like there, and then realize, maybe I'll do this. Maybe realize that I've got some of the sienna in my Indian yellow. So I have to figure out how to do this as well. This is Van Dyke Brown. This is a neutral gray, and then a cobalt blue. Now, these have got really thin because of the water and the sponge underneath this paper. So this is hard for me to use. It's too slippery. Maybe if I put it in a tub of some sort, I do have some extras, it'll thicken back up again. But let me end back up with this. So I had on this palette, up in this corner, I had a lot of hot pinks and burgundies and things like that. And I used those big new brushes and stained. I would call this staining. I stained and let drip paint. It does look floral to me, so I might go with that. I might, you know, leave that and let it go. And I do absolutely love the white space. I don't think I'm gonna lose that. I think the direction of this painting, in a really woo-woo way, gave itself to me, and I will just build on this to make the finishes lovely and see where it goes. All right. So there you have it. It's not an average day in the studio, but it is a day in the studio. That happens often. I come in, I have to get my brushes cleaned. It's almost the weekend. I have an event tonight at the gallery. We have the show at the gallery on the weekend. My husband is inside, and he's putting hangers on the littles that I did that are framed in oak by Rustic Burl, the company. Just a lot of odds and ends. I don't really have computer work today, which I'm thankful for. I did that already. And I thought I would just film this for you. Let me know if you can relate. I've also been listening to some podcasts by some artists, and it is amazing how we all can relate. And I think that is why I thought I would do this video for you. I think we need to know that we have days where we don't paint. We need to know that we have days where it's chaos, but we also need to know that out of the chaos, sometimes magic happens. Magic happens if you let yourself do it. So this, I can't wait to get back to this, but I don't want to ruin it. Oh no. Okay. We'll see you in the next video. I hope you've had a great week in your studio, or if you're whatever creative venture you do something artsy this weekend, okay? Tell me what you do.